Chalk up your cue and destroy your enemies. It's Archer Maclean's Pool on Amigos, episode 347. Hi everybody, welcome to Amigos. I'm John.
And I'm Aaron.
And today, Aaron, we're going to be talking about Archer Maclean's Pool.
Oh!
Now, Aaron, when were you at the top of your pool game?
I have never been at the top of my pool game.
You're still ascending the mountain.
Oh, man. I do like to play pool.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, our good buddy, the good Matt from TSI, has a pool table in his pad. Along with, it's also an air hockey table, ping pong. It's a multi-table.
You can do it all.
You also holds a bunch of garbage.
Yep, it's good for putting stuff on.
It'll hold Halloween candy for 6 months after Halloween. But I like playing pool over there. And we do have a buddy named Dale who's very good at pool, but I've never been very good. And I've always wanted to get better. Probably the height of my abilities at pool, we used to go to this roller rink. They had religious, like Bible school, church, roller skate night. I used to go to it in Kanawha City. And they had pool tables, and you have your roller skates on, so you play pool while you had your skates on.
Oh, wow.
And so, yeah.
Seems like it would be hard to kind of get into your stance like that.
I saw many a brutal fall. And, of course, at this, you're also carrying a large weapon.
Right.
So when you go down.
You go down hard.
Thankfully, the pool tables are sort of not too close to everyone else. But we shot a lot of pool, and I think the additional height of wearing skates helps in pool.
Especially when you're a little kid, like you probably were.
I wasn't that young, to be honest with you. I was in high school.
Oh, okay.
But it was fun. Probably the most pool I shot was back then.
Is that roller rink still there in Kanawha City?
I don't know. It was there for, you know how those roller rinks were around forever. It's well after the one we had around here was gone. But that was fun. I like shooting pool. I really only know the rules to a few games of pool. I know there's lots, but I only know the rules for a couple.
Do you know why pool is called pool?
I don't know.
So pool, of course, is a billiards type game which incorporates lots of different kinds of pool games. And of course, when we talk about pool here in the US of A, 9 times out of 10 we're talking about 8-ball.
Yeah.
And the reason why pool is called pool is because of its gambling component. Pool halls were set up where people could go and place bets on betting on pool games, on billiards games, and eventually they just stopped calling it billiards and they just started calling it pool from pool halls.
Yeah.
Just like when you fill out your bracket for the Final Four, you go into the pool, you know? This is not something I knew either until I did some research this past week.
It is funny because we covered Jimmy White's Whirlwind Snooker years ago now. Gosh, can you imagine that? It was years ago.
Yeah.
And Billy, that snooker is way different than pool.
Oh yeah.
The table is, a lot huger. You know, there's a lot of differences. I don't know if I've ever seen more than 1 or 2 snooker tables ever in the United States. Like
I don't think I've ever seen one.
Well, I've seen them in Lexington. There was a place that had them, and I remember going to a pool hall somewhere locally years and years ago that had one.
Now, when I was in Korea, before the PC room was a thing, all the kids used to hang out in snooker halls. Yeah. Yeah, and so there's snooker halls all over Korea.
What's the PC room?
The PC room?
Yeah, what is that?
It's Pishibang, is the Korean name for it. And this is the internet cafe. This is where you have billions of computers in a room, and you get served, you walk in, okay, there's a waitress that comes up. She brings you a bowl of ramen. She brings some Chilsung cider. Yeah. And then you can fire up StarCraft. You can fire up Warcraft. They've got the computers with, because this was just at the cusp of when kids started getting computers at home for a long time. Like, it's not like it is here where everybody has their own computer. Even into the 90s and the 2000s, kids didn't have computers at home, so they would hang out in these PC rooms after school.
Really?
And they would play. That's where they all hone their StarCraft skills.
Now, this would be the most socially antisocial setting you could possibly have, wouldn't it?
Well, I mean, it's sort of like a LAN party where you're playing next to your buddy, and whenever you do something good, you give them the old elbow or something like that.
But, I see.
Yeah.
Is that the way? I've never played StarCraft. Is that the way StarCraft works? Would you because it seems like it's sort of a personal thing. It'd be like if I was playing like Civilization or something. It doesn't seem like there'd be a lot of room for elbowing.
Oh, so you really don't know anything about StarCraft?
No, I've never played StarCraft.
So StarCraft is a competitive multiplayer game.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, it's nothing like Civilization except for the fact that it takes place from a top-down perspective.
Oh, I see.
There are, when I was in Korea, I don't know if it's still like this, there were 2 24/7 channels on basic cable that did nothing but show called StarCraft matches.
Oh,
StarCraft
my God.
is the original esport sport.
That's wacky. Now, what did it cost per hour to get a roll?
It was very cheap. It was very cheap. So you walk in, and I think you pay, like the ramen comes free, the cider comes free.
Really?
And I think it was like maybe like 2,001 for an hour.
And what is that in
that's
US
about
dollars?
$2 an hour.
Holy smokes!
Yeah. So it's very
was
reasonable.
that cheap for them?
Well, yeah, I think it was cheap for them because it was kids. Kids don't
Yeah.
have a lot of spending money,
Yeah.
so they go in there and they buy their thing, and they get their time, and that's where they hang out. And so there were these public crusades against these PC rooms, just like before then. There were the public crusades against the snooker halls. I went to a snooker hall a couple times, and now it's filled with men about our age, and they're smoking and they're playing pool, and you can't breathe because the smoke is so thick. But that was the first time that I came into contact with snooker.
When I was a kid, pool halls were real popular, and every pool hall was just like you described. Smoky, people would be in there. Sometimes they would serve alcohol, sometimes most of the time. And it'd be like a huge room with probably like 20 or 25 big pool tables everywhere. They're everywhere. And then over the years, though, those things sort of have went away.
There used to be, when I was in high school, that was probably the peak of when I played the most pool, although much like you, I never got any better. In Milton, by the bowling alley, like next to the bowling alley, there was a pool hall.
Yeah, I've played there. And also, there's as far as I know, there's still one up near the mound. There's a pool hall. But, pool, much like bowling and a lot of other stuff, just sort of gone by the wayside.
Yeah.
And I don't know, what do you think? Do you miss it? Did you like being in the pool hall?
I think like places like pool halls and bowling alleys gave people a chance to socialize with people when they were antisocial, because not everybody's just like, I just want to go somewhere and hang out. You've got to have a reason to go. And so things like bowling leagues and pool leagues, this gave like a chance for people to force themselves into socialization. Now that the internet exists, people can just type angrily into their screen instead of going to these places.
I feel sort of bad because those facilities have left. And I mean, because yes, much like old arcades and pool halls were very similar. They had a similar vibe. There were adults in there. They were smoking. They were playing their game, and they were maybe chatting with a buddy or meeting people there. And it was an adult entertainment area. And over the years, arcades and pool halls have both sort of had a similar fate.
And bowling alleys.
And bowling alleys are the same way. And so when those leave, I mean, you're literally losing like a chunk of cultural importance.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure we're going to get them back anytime soon.
Yeah, because there's nothing that's replaced them, really.
And I think what you're going to end up having is just like arcades, where you've got these barcades where these upscale young folks have put this thing together. It's sort of not the same, but sort of the same. That maybe that's where bowling alleys and pool halls will end up being, where they'll be this little niche thing.
In a lot of places that are bigger than here, they still have bowling alleys, but there's never just a bowling alley. It's always like bowling alley, laser tag, a small arcade, like family fun center type place. Yeah. And those places are still around, just not around us. But all like this pure bowling alleys where you had like the Big Lebowski type bowling alleys, those places are going away.
When I was hanging out with my buddy Rich, his dad was a pro bowler, semi-pro, and we would go to bowling alleys, and then you'd see like there's one in Cincinnati that had 100 lanes, and they would just look down this thing, there'd be everyone there, and there were people, just regular Joes, and they'd also have a pool area in the back. It was bowling and pool sort of run hand in hand.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
And I wonder, like I said, those places, we may be the last generation that got to really hang out in them in our youth.
Because Luke's not going to remember going bowling. He's been bowling before, but it's not a real part of his life.
Right. Plus, those alleys aren't like they used to be.
No, man, I couldn't even. That with the laser light show and those music videos playing.
Can you imagine letting your son or daughter in one of the old school pool halls?
Man, I mean, that's why they learn about life.
Yeah.
Speaking of learning about life, Aaron, that's what this game taught me. Let's talk about Archer Maclean's pool.
Oh man, this is a small jump from our conversation here. We mentioned it, that we talked about one of Archer Maclean's other games, which was Jimmy White's Whirlwind Snooker. I'm not exactly sure when it was. It's been several years ago when we talked about it. We both went through a big phase when we looked into watching a lot of snooker.
It's funny. I went back and watched snooker this week after watching pool, because you can't compare. You can't compare watching pool on TV versus snooker. There's something about snooker that makes it infinitely more interesting.
Well, when I was a kid, pool on TV was sort of a big deal.
Sure, yeah.
You had Minnesota Fats and some of those guys that were big names in the States. Like you'd see them in like beer commercials and stuff, and so you knew who they were.
Right.
Okay, so think about that. There was a time in America where we knew who the big pool players were.
Same with the like PBA guys too.
Right,
They get
exactly.
sponsorships.
There was
and deals
it's not a ton of them, but there
Right.
was some.
Mm-hmm.
But those days, I mean, can you name a single big-time pool player now?
Or I can't name a pool player or a bowler.
Yeah, it's crazy. And it's not just because, I mean, I watch a little bit of everything. It's just that stuff's went away. The last big-time pool player I remember, there was this chick called the Black Widow. And she was a really hot and excellent pool player. I remember her, but that was when I was in Lexington. But that's the last one I remember. And that was, just because she was a real hot pool player. It's not because she was great or anything. So, I didn't get to go back and watch cool videos of pool like I did the snooker, but really, I mean, the characters in snooker that was a whole different culture that's sort of different for us, and it was so fun to look into. Whereas pool, it's got its own culture, but it
doesn't have that sort of exoticism that snooker has.
And so Archer Maclean's pool is more for me in terms of the cultural relevance, but also the fact that we were far more familiar with the game of pool than we were snooker. This game released in '92 on a disc. This lets you play up to 8 people in a tournament mode, which we'll get into that a little bit in a bit. Archer pretty much was a one-man show in this, except for he had a musician come in, Michael Powell, and I'm assuming he did the opening tune.
Well, I'm assuming so, because that's the only music in the game.
Well, Archer, he's listed as also doing some of the music, but that's maybe they both worked on it. Of course, Archer Maclean is famous for Jimmy White. I'd say his biggest claim to fame is your IK Plus on the Amiga. He really only did a few things on the Amiga.
Well, yeah,
would you say IK Plus, Snooker, or Drop Zone are his biggest, most famous ones?
IK Plus, without a doubt.
Yeah,
because people just worship that game.
Yeah, Drop Zone. Of course, he's responsible for Drop Zone, Super Drop Zone, all the Drop Zone family.
An ARG classic.
Yeah, and so one thing that he's known for is real programming prowess. Boat, I guess would be the best way to put it. This was an ECS-OCS game about pool. This got a surprising number of conversions, Boat. I was surprised. You had an ST version. That didn't surprise me. These following ones did. The DOS, the Game Boy Advance. Did you ever play this on the GBA?
I looked at it, but I didn't play it.
And but surprisingly, this had a PlayStation release, which is interesting. We'll talk about that a little bit later on. And some of these games went through various name changes depending on where it was at and whatnot. You may notice if you've played Whirlwind Snooker that this looks very similar. In fact, it runs on the same graphical engine. I mean, this probably was not that difficult to put together.
Well, there's no sense in reinventing the wheel with something like this. You got your ball physics and your table physics. You might as well just run with them.
Right. So when you bring this game up, of course you get a little intro where the pools do a little demo, the pool balls, and this shows off the engine, its ability to pan, scale, and twirl the objects on the screen
while the balls are in motion.
Right, right, and it's pretty impressive, I think, when it comes up. There's a little tune playing. It goes on for a little while, and then you're kind of dumped in the menu. Menus are pretty. There's not a ton here, really. In all honesty, that you could select the type of game you're going to want to play, and there's only a couple. And then you can select how you want to play them, how many players you want to play a tournament mode, and then you can also go through and tweak some of the rules that are available for each game, and then you can also go through and figure out what you want to do with your save files. This game will let you. It saves all your scores and whatnot. And you can save games. There's nothing major going on there, is there? There's not like any real major interface swaps or any sort of major wacky stuff. Once you pick a game, you can pick your opponent. You get to choose from a big list of AIs, or unless you're playing a human, and then you go to play some pool. I mean, is that pretty much what you got out of the opening screens? It's not like there's a whole lot.
There's not a whole lot to talk about there.
The rules, the pool games you can pick from are you've got the 8-ball UK table rules. You've got the 9-ball US tournament rules. You've got the 8-ball US bar table rules. Now, these may mean something to somebody, but they don't mean nothing to me. I don't know what I know what 8-ball and 9-ball are. That's pretty much all I need to know. And so there aren't as many games in terms of variations available.
I will say that I know one thing that's different about English balls.
Yeah.
I'm
gonna hear this. Ha ha ha.
The cue ball is different. The cue ball is heavier and larger in English pool. Do you know why that is?
I don't.
It's because it needs to return to the player and not go into the coin operated mechanism that when you sink the balls. So anytime that you play a coin operated table, it's English cue ball. It's an English cue ball because that's what sends it back to you.
So that's how it knows.
Yeah, that's
how I always wondered about that. That's kind of neat. Of course, we played most of the ones we played around here are coin ops. Although the old pool halls, you just go out and you buy it by go to the guy behind the gimmick. Yeah, right. He's always some old guy reading a newspaper.
Yeah, he is. I hope to be that man one day.
You're well on your way, Bo. So you've got just to go over some of the options here. You can play up to 8 people in a tournament, which that'd be kind of neat. Mm-hmm. The funny thing about this game, though, we'll get into it when I'm going to let you talk about the actual gameplay proper. But this game is a real. It's a proper game of pool, but it's not what I would call the most exciting game I've ever played on the Amiga. It does what it says on the tin. It plays your pool game. Tell people about how the pool is played in this versus, say, other games where there's more of a manual spin to it.
Well, what you do in this game is you select all of your options by a window that is about a third of the screen.
Yeah.
And then you just basically pull the mouse back and push it forward, and that's what launches the action. So you choose your strength.
See, no, I never did that.
Really?
No.
Okay.
I hit the strength meter and then hit launch ball. I never actually did the mouse thing.
Maybe what I was doing was because I did the strength meter too. Maybe all my actions were for naught.
Yeah, because I don't think that does anything.
I thought it might have put a little English on it or something.
No, because you actually you sort of program your shot.
You do. You program your shot. So you've got the far left side of the screen is a cue ball. It's a pool cue. And you move the cue up and down, and the farther down you move it, the harder you hit the ball.
Yeah, it tells you it tells you weak, medium, hard, very hard, how hard you're going to hit.
Right, and then there are 4 or 5 different cue ball graphics on the screen. You can use these to choose where to hit the position that you hit the cue ball. Both if you want to make it go to the left or go to the right, you put that in, and then you also have buttons to choose the angle of your shot. So, like you said, programming your shot is a very apt way to describe this action.
It's very unusual. Again, just like Jimmy White was, and so this is a double-edged sword. In all honesty, a lot of games that we've played that are pool, I feel more like I'm in tune with the pool cue. Mm-hmm. Where in this one, you basically set it up. Including English, the elevation. This is almost like if you want to watch robots play pool. I mean, it's what it reminds me of. There's a disconnection.
Well, it is. It is almost as if you have a machine next to you, and you type things in, and then you see the robot arm pull back and go.
I've got one of those big tracks in the house, and to get it to go anywhere, you have to program the moves it goes. You have to program it in advance. That's what reminds me of that.
Yeah.
This is like the big tracks of pool.
Right. And
so you program it in. Now, the interface in terms of the way the visuals of this game everything in the game spins, rotates. You can zoom in, you can zoom out, you can spin the whole table.
It's a lot. You know what this reminded me of is doing stuff with Tabletop Simulator.
Yeah.
You have that same sort of degree of freedom where you can move anywhere you want. And it's sort of fun at first, especially when you think about that this ran on an ECS OCS Amiga. That you can smoothly transition between panning and scrolling and rotating, and it all is smooth as silk.
This is the genius of Archer, is that he's known far and wide as the guy who does the tight programming, and this right here, that might be his greatest triumph. The Amiga, not known for this sort of thing, and this is smooth as silk, and from every conceivable angle. Which you got to think. I mean, were there any pool games that allowed this sort of virtual? This is virtual pool. I mean, for all effective purposes, I mean, you can see every part of the pool table, and it works well now. And there are shortcuts, so you don't have to even use the graphical interface. You can use keyboard shortcuts to go through it. I found this, like, I played the dumbest AIs every time, of course, and I won my first game of 8-ball right away. I was already out of the gate where I could, and without having played it once. And I had good success. If I didn't screw up, now that you have advantages in this you would not normally have in real pool. The lineup shot with that straight line, that sort of thing. The fact that you can zoom through every camera shot. So there are advantages, but there are also disadvantages just because it's, not everything's perfect in the virtual world. But I mean, I found shot making good. I found the touch on the ball was the hardest thing. I will say the backspin, and you could also side spin the ball, forward spin.
You have complete control to do things that I couldn't dream of doing in real pool.
Oh God! Can you imagine putting side spin on a ball? I've never done that. This makes you feel like a real stud, and it's neat to, like, I was trying to sink a ball, and I was like, I bet if I can put a little side spin on this, I can barely hit the side of that ball. It works. It works.
And let's talk a little bit about what I think is the coolest feature of this game, which is the trick shot simulator.
Yeah, get into that.
And so with this, you can actually set up balls. You can place balls wherever you want on the table, and you can set up shots and try and sink shots just for fun. It's a total sandbox mode, but it's really cool because it lets you set up things exactly how you want them. So it's a great practice aid for the game. And just like you said, you can do things with the side spin and the back spin that you can never dream of doing in real pool.
Yeah, I did. I had a cup of coffee with the trick shot thing, and it was pretty cool. When I used to watch Wild World Sports as a kid, they would have trick shot artists on there.
Oh yeah, I love those shows.
And so it was always neat to see them do that kind of crazy stuff, the interface really lends itself to that sort of thing. It's no problem to place these balls wherever you want them, because that interface is so sharp. It's just a piece of cake. And of course, you've got your mouse. Believe it or not, you don't have to use the mouse with this, but you'd be out of your mind to not use it. I can't imagine. But I was reading about the rule book. It includes all the other systems it supports, and it's like, we strongly urge you to use a mouse. I'm like, no kidding.
Yeah.
But I mean, I guess you could play this with the keyboard if you really wanted to. What did you think about? I mean, did you think the AIs were matched up? The difficulties were pretty fair. What did you think about?
I struggled to win.
Really?
Yeah, in this game, I think that it's because just like real pool.
Yeah.
I am not a patient man when it comes to pool. Yeah. This is my strategy. If I've got a clear shot, I just hit the ball as hard as I can and I try and sink it. If I don't have a clear shot, I find a cluster of balls and I hit the cue ball at that cluster of balls and hope for the best.
Yeah, that's not good. Now, did you play? Did you prefer a specific game?
I tend to like 9-ball more just because I played 8-ball so often. 9-ball seems like it's a more interesting game.
Yeah.
In fact, it got me pumped to go back over to Matt's house and play some 9-ball because I think he has the diamond-shaped deal that you need to set it up.
The one thing I like about playing at Matt's is that his pool table's in a room and the walls are right there, and so sometimes you have to use the half stick.
You got to use the baby cue.
Yeah. And it reminds me of I don't know if you ever watched Seinfeld where they were playing pool in there and they kept punching the pool thing through the wall or out the window. It's very similar to that because you have to be you're very close together. There's not too many people I've ever known that had a pool table in their house that you could fully access. Most of the time it would be in a basement. I always wanted one, but they also at the time they cost a fortune. You can get a pretty cheap one these days. I do like the fact you get to enter your name in. That's nice. It also, when the game is over, it will grade your performance. It gives you some details on how you shot and how well you did and what you were doing, that's kind of cool. I don't know if we mentioned the fact that when you're taking your shots, you can even elevate the cue
Right.
and do real wacky stuff
Yeah.
with that. That also comes in handy for the trick
Yeah.
shots.
If I had some more time, I'd love to see. Did you ever try and actually make a ball leave the table? Like
I
going
know.
up high
I was wondering if you could do it. I never did that.
I've done that. That's one trick shot I'm good at.
Yeah,
Is that a trick shot?
Yeah, well, it's a trick shot when you hit the guy that's standing on the other side of the table in the groin. I've seen that happen more than a few times. This thing does keep a ton of stats. It'll keep all. I mean, so if you have your disc ready to save, it'll keep all your stats. You can save individual games and matches. You could have more than one save, which, as I recall, you could not in the in Jimmy White. But one of the main differences in this game is it's easier, and there's a reason for that. It's because American pool, or pool in general, I don't know if you can call it American pool. The pockets, unlike the billiards, you got bigger pockets. You've got a smaller area to cover.
Mm-hmm.
And so it makes it easier to sink these shots. They probably wouldn't go in the old version of this game,
right?
But they go in this one without much problem. When you're playing 9-ball or a game where you need to see the numbers in the ball, they're pretty easy to see. I didn't have any trouble. I mean, it's pool. This is pool.
It's time to be critical now.
Oh, yeah.
Because we've sung this game's praises, so forth, but this game is lacking in several areas.
All right.
Okay. Area number 1. You're playing pool in the Great Abyss.
That's true.
Okay?
There is no background.
There is no background. There is no opponent. You cannot see yourself on the table. Okay?
You're a specter, and so is your opponent. Yeah.
This is bad. This is real bad for a game that came out in 1992. Okay.
Well, but you can understand why.
If this was an 80s game, that would be understandable, and it was understandable with snooker because that was the first go round. Okay. You need to have an option to, even if it's something very, very rudimentary, sort of like the backgrounds in that ARG game you were talking about last week. MS Paint like graphics.
Yeah,
you got to give
looked at that,
you,
did you?
You got to give me something. You got to give me something. Number 2. You've got it. Here's the thing that I love about old Jockey Wilson darts. I'm bringing that back. Okay,
because that game was nowhere. It's not the same stretch.
This is well, yeah, it was a lot better.
No,
I enjoyed it a lot more.
God, no.
In Jockey Wilson, you see your opponent take shots, and your opponents all look different. They look cool. You visit a barmaid at some point.
That is a missed opportunity. Even if you're not going to show them during play,
right?
This game doesn't have a lot of personality.
It's got 0 personality.
No, I'm not going to say 0.
Okay, yeah, it's got 1 personality. Okay, there are some touches in this game. For example, if you zoom out on the table, you see like Scooby-Doo-esque haunting eyes pop up in the blackness. Why those are there, nobody knows. It makes no sense.
Well,
but that is
to be wacky. There's also if you wait long enough, and this scared the crap out of me. I had to edit myself there. Mm-hmm. The balls will go like,
right?
Like, and I about fell out of the chair when I was doing something else while I was playing. So there's a few little touches in there. Listen, we both are the same on this. When you've got a game that features an opponent, there's nothing better than having like an opponent to like, look at this guy.
Right.
I love that in
right.
every game,
mm-hmm.
And so
obviously,
even a portrait of
the best case scenario would be like in a snooker match where you're walking around the table and you see the other guy sort of walking around on the opposite side, maybe going over to the side and drinking a pint, lighting a ciggy. What they should have done was that. Now, I realize that probably wouldn't have been possible. So instead, what they should have done was put up the portrait, and the more that you're winning and he's losing, his face gets more and more like, that would be an awesome.
Well, you can tell by the way this game is made that this is almost like a simulator. It's not really like a video game.
Right.
And so that stuff is left to your imagination.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I mean, does it play a good game of pool? Yes. Is it going to fill you with delight and glee and warm your heart? No, it's not.
Yeah.
I mean, if it was me, I'd have a background at like an actual pool hall, and you could see other people playing pool, and you could actually. And here, we should get into this now since we're talking about this. I mentioned this game got ported to a lot of places. So one of the places it got ported to was the PlayStation boat of all things. Now the PlayStation was light years ahead of the Amiga.
Yeah.
And so you think to yourself, hey, all the wishes, all the demands you guys have made are going to be coming true. Well, no.
No.
It's exactly the same. I mean,
well, the frame rate is better.
But I mean, it's still a pull and a void.
Yeah,
everything. And, oh, by the way, there's no mouse, so it's actually probably worse.
Right.
You know, you can use the analog stick, I guess. But I looked at these other ports and DOS and stuff. I mean, listen, there was no. It's not like we got hosed on the port. They're all ports of the Amiga version. So they didn't really
and here's the
pep
thing.
them up.
If you played a football manager type game from 1992 on the Amiga, there would be a full career mode where you could buy and sell players and stuff like that. What this game needs is that sort of a mode where you can upgrade your queue, you could get shinier balls. I don't know.
Shinier balls.
Maybe you're a basketball player and you're looking to work your way up through the pool circuit, just like in that pinball game we played.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, I mean,
give me something.
There was not a lot of that sort of thing in here. There's none of it, actually. And so this is straight up a pool simulator. That's all there is to it. Did we get any Discord access while you're looking into it? I'm going to tell you what I found out on my reviews. This game got 400 million reviews, Bo. I mean, you may be stunned. So the people at Lemon gave this an 8.26. Amiga Action 91, Amiga Computer 88, lots of 88s, 89, Amiga Format 89, Amiga Joker 83, which that's like 1,000% for them.
Right.
Amiga Power 82. The cumulative scores was 88%, that's real high. So this was a well-received game, reviewed well, much like Jimmy White. A lot of people praised the fact that it was easier, and they also praised the fact that you could have multiple saves, and they also enjoyed the enhanced AI from Snuka. Now, granted, me and you were so bad at that game, you could have had, I don't know, you could take one of those Radio Shack Electronic Kits AI and beat us at it. But in this, I did feel like, I moved through the 8 different ranks of AI, and I did feel differences in them. That was kind of cool.
Yeah. Now, again, This is the type of game that the fun meter goes up 1,000% when you're playing against a buddy. When you're playing against somebody and you're sitting side by side and you're both taking shots, talking trash.
The problem with this, though, think of all the 2-player games we played. Is this the one you're going to want to drag out for a boozed up fun night? Not really.
I mean, when you're a kid, you don't have boozed up fun nights.
When you're a kid, I don't know. Would you play? Is this the game you'd want to play when you were a kid?
I played a lot of pool games with my friends.
Like this one though, where you program the guy to shoot.
Well, if this is what else are you going to do on the Amiga? Listen, you're already a second-class citizen owning one of these machines.
Compared to who?
Compared to console people, better people.
Give me a break, Bode. You're delusional with that console crap.
Listen, I'm just saying. If I was one of the people that was slumming it with an Amiga, I would fire this thing up all the time.
Those console kids would have sold their soul to get an Amiga. Are you kidding me? Get it out.
We got some Discord reviews there, and first up comes from David Hearn Ryder. He says, so Archer's an awesome programmer.
Yes.
IK Plus, anyone?
No.
And back in 92, this was very decent. I wasn't as dazzled.
What a ringing endorsement.
I wasn't as dazzled as I had been by Jimmy White's Snuka. But this uses the same engine, but I still enjoyed it. The graphics looked great then, but very dated now. The physics engine still holds up, and the interface allows you to adjust power, spin, and even chalk your cue. The 3 different variants added some spice, and the variety of opponents was a step up from Jimmy. I used to feel very satisfied pulling off tricks shots, but revisiting it now, the interface feels clunky and not intuitive. Still, I'd give it 88% back then, and much cheaper than a real pool table. Pajako6502 says, it's been a while, but I strode into that pool hall and showed him that, yes, I still suck at pool. Archer Maclean Presents Pool is one of the most intuitive and fun to play pool games, not just for an Amiga game. Some good game variations, including my preferred 9-ball rules. I have fond memories of playing this with my friends, and whilst I played against the AI today, it can still be a challenging and fun game. Plus, you can recreate some of your favorite pool movie trick shots with trick shot mode, which is awesome. For a 3D game running on the A500, this manages to run at a good pace. The in-game table feels a bit big for a pool table, but it's really no big thing. Definitely one of the better Amiga pool games available with a little dash of humor thrown in, 9 out of 10. And finally, the man himself, Pixels at Dawn, writes, it's a funny thing that while most people have fond memories of Jimmy White's cue-based antics, I didn't play this game at all until relatively recently. I did, however, have the brilliant white monolith of Archer Maclean's effort on my shelf. It is a brilliant white monolith. The box
he's
art
talking
for
about the
this.
box, which is it's horrible. We'll talk about it. Go ahead.
At its core, the two games are very similar, but I think just by dint of pool having more varieties in the sport itself, I find this version trumps its more British counterpart. Putting it up against its nearest rival, Team 17's arcade pool, this loses out in sheer things to do, but the 3D representation really can't be beat. A great game with friends or solo, Archer Maclean's pool doesn't sink the 8-ball until the perfect moment. 8.5 out of 10. Excellent review.
Very
from the
good,
Discord
very
community
good. Now, two things I want to mention. Yes, one, and we mentioned this last week. The game box for this, it looks like it was print. It's like it's generic. It just needs like a big UPC symbol in the front.
It looks like a budget release because usually in the budget releases they shrink the original art down and then they put a huge.
They put something else on the box.
Yeah,
though.
that's true.
This is just a big white box with a little square picture in the middle, and I mean it takes up like 1/5 of the box.
And it just says "pool" in big black letters.
Remember when you want to play Doom, but you've got the system doesn't have the jack, and so you make that like a postage stamp. That's what they did here. It's like the box couldn't handle the full size of the pool hall.
Right.
So the box stinks. But I mean, listen, as a virtual pool table that you program your shots, I don't think you're going to get any better. Even today, I mean, there's not much more you can do. You can make it look better. You know, I mean, it's even got stuff like follow the ball cam mode and stuff. A lot of really interesting stuff in here. It's a cleverly done game. This is like the elite of pool. It's like a one-disc wonder that a programming genius put together and unleashed in the world. So, I mean, if you want to play some pool and you don't have a pool hall nearby, this might be for you. If you like action, you like a lot of fun, exciting visuals and simulating audio, this is not for you. Oh, eBay-wise, you can get these all day long over in the UK. I saw these things going from $3 all the way up to $30. I can't imagine why you wouldn't want this on your shelf. You know, you might as well just get any old white box and stick it up there sideways and just write pool in the side.
Might even look better.
Yeah, there you go. So, yeah, cheap as chips. They're all over the place. Grab it if you want it. I think we both dug it, but it's not like I'm going to be killing myself. But if I have a hankering for some pool,
you know,
I'll be back in.
I really feel like this game would have been a lot better if you could, if they just programmed in the mouse, like draw it back and push it forward. You know, give me that. Give me the real touch.
Well, it is what it is.
But you can't. It wasn't that.
For
it was
purists, that's probably what they've done here is probably the best way to go.
Yeah.
But we're unpure.
Yeah, that's very true. Very true. I'll tell you who's the purest of them all.
Who's that?
RetroRewind.
I heard of him. I heard of that guy. He's the purest of them all?
He's the purest.
I gotta hear this.
The new Fallen Snow and Frank. They're neck and neck. They're neck and neck. Now, Aaron, listen, there's always new stuff coming out over on Frank's site.
Yeah.
And I'm just going to go over some of the things that he's got up here.
Yeah.
This thing is the old C64 AV adapter.
Oh yes, I've seen pictures of these things.
Now, as you know, the C64 originally came with one of those DIN connectors that ran out and gave you various chroma and lumas.
Yeah.
Okay. Nobody has those kind of monitors
that's for
anymore.
Geeks.
Yeah. What you've got is a CRT that's got good old composite. Composites never let anybody down ever.
No.
Okay. So what you do is you plug this thing in here. It gives you composite video. It gives you separated stereo.
Nice.
It gives you an audio in.
Nice.
An audio in, Aaron, and it gives you the old S video for those upscale joints.
That's your money video right there.
That's
right.
right.
I'm using a lot of mine.
$28, Aaron. $28 for this thing.
They're giving them away.
Yeah. So if you are interested in new hardware and software for any Commodore computer, plus the Coco, the Tandy Coco, there's only one place to go, and that's RetroRewind.ca. You know, if you are a person that has a broken computer, send it to Frank. He'll fix it for you. If you're somebody that wants to fix it yourself, he'll send you the parts. He'll send you the caps. Listen, Frank does it all. He does it well, and he does it inexpensively. Located in friendly Ontario, Canada, Frank and his team of experts are waiting to serve you with industry standard repair things. This is not the old cheap soldering iron deal. He's got the tools, he's got the skills, and he's got the experience. Check out RetroRewind.ca. Use the promo code Amigos10 at checkout. Save yourself 10%. We do thank and appreciate Retro Rewind for being an official sponsor of Amigos.
I'm going to be taking care of Frank old school when he comes to town for Boat Fest.
That's
so,
right.
Brother, a pile of Frank-related items waiting for him to work on. I'm gonna hog his services when he gets here.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. Aaron, it's been a busy week in the world of Amiga news. Let's check it out.
Yes, sir.
All right, Aaron, we're going to kick things off here with a little video from our buddy, Chris Edwards.
Yes.
Tell us about this one,
This
Aaron.
is a little action here. The old Athlon. This is the old gimmick where you take one of these old Athlon processored computers, the old PCs, and you do the Amiga job on this thing. It comes up like a jacked up Amiga. You know, it's funny. I've thrown away so many.
Now,
of these
what
Athlons.
were Athlon?
I didn't know you could do it.
Were Athlon processors held in high regard back in the day?
They were cheap, and they were held in high regard. Actually, I thought they were pretty good. Good. They were good products.
Is it like a Celeron?
Well, no, Athlon was AMD made those.
Okay, Celeron was Intel.
It was a competitor, and they were like I said, they were much like everything else that AMD did. It's funny how AMD has come full circle because now they're running the show in a lot of ways.
Oh yeah.
But they've been around, man. And so this video is just Chris showing this thing playing Amiga stuff. He plays the Amiga versions of various. I was telling Bo before the show we were talking about this. If you want to watch someone take a PC, install Amiga stuff on it, and then go through and play PC games through the Amiga stuff, this is the video for you.
It also runs 68K software very, very poorly.
Well,
so you've got that going for it too.
A lot of it depends. It depends on what kind of rig you've got.
Well, sure, if you got a monster
to a certain degree. This is the kind of crap that I like. Someone doing stuff with stuff that normally wouldn't do that to do other stuff that there's no way you should be doing. It's madness. It's pure madness. It's the kind of madness that this man does every week on his show. Check it out. Always something wacky. Oh, you got to give Chris credit. Like every week, he's got some kind of other wacky gimmick going. Like it's never just like, okay, this week let's solder this. And it's like, no, let's do this crazy thing. So I fully endorse it. Good stuff. One of these days, I'm going to put one of these together, Boat. I got to dig into my huge pile of crapola and see if I got any Athlons laying around.
Now, Aaron, our next story comes from Indie. Actually, yeah, it doesn't. Our next story is Boat Fest.
That's our next story, is it? But I've heard of this thing. What is this thing, Boat?
You know, Boat Fest is less. It's just about 2 months away.
Just
about
Lord.
2 months away.
I need a drink.
And if you haven't got your tickets yet, I've got some things that may entice you. So, I know that you and I are both going to be bringing a wide selection of things to sell and barter and trade at the official Boat Fest swap meet.
I ain't selling nothing. They get nothing. No, I'll have stuff. I got all kinds of stuff to give away. I'm giving it away.
Yeah,
brother. I've got people that aren't even coming. They're sending stuff to give away.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Now, I'll tell you what we won't be giving away, but we will be selling. We are officially the official US distributor of the RMC Retro Computer Coloring Book.
Oh my.
If you've been hankering for one of these coloring books, but you don't want to pay the ever-increasing shipping charges from the UK, you can buy one at Boat Fest. They're only going to be available at Boat Fest. We've secured a nice little pile of these things.
It probably costs you more to ship one of these things in than it would cost to get into Boat Fest.
That is absolutely the case. That's absolutely the case. So be on the lookout and pick up a coloring book there. We're also going to be having maybe a little coloring contest. We'll be giving some things away from the coloring book. In addition to that, we're also going to be getting a bunch of Amiga Forever magazines and Amiga Addict magazines. There's a lot of Amiga stuff out there if you haven't noticed. And so we'll be selling those. You can get those. Again, save yourself, because again, shipping's a killer from the UK.
Think about. I didn't know about that until you just mentioned it. This is great news. How many venues are there to buy those on hand in the States right now?
Not a lot.
Now, I've heard that these are going to be coming out to your newsstands.
They're going to be at Barnes & Noble. So if you have a Barnes & Noble nearby, check it.
No one I know had seen them yet. Yeah. So I don't think that's so. By the time we get these out, we still may be one of the first places in the entire country that you can come in and pick one of these things up and take it to the house.
That's right. So
what an angle.
You can go to boatfest.info. You can check out the official schedule. We are going to be recording all of the shows live at Boat Fest.
It's going to be mad.
And of course, there's going to be Rob Flack O'Hara there recording a live edition of Sprite Castle. We're going to have door prizes. We're going to have karaoke. We're going to have tournaments. It's going to be a great time. There's going to be 30 classic consoles and computers set up for play, plus a virtual pinball machine. It's going to be off-the-chain fun and excitement for you and all of your closest friends. Tickets are only $25 for the weekend. It's a deal. It's a steal. So head on over to boatfest.info, and tickets are going fast. We can only sell, because of fire regulations, we can only sell 50 of these bad boys. We've already sold 20. There's 30 tickets left. Snap one up before they're gone.
And the locals haven't bought theirs yet,
right.
So there's way less than that. I should mention, you were talking about Flack. He's talking about building himself a stealth sleeping van to come to this thing.
Oh man,
stealth sleeping van. Yes. You know what that is? It's one of those vans like you pull it into like a Walmart and you sleep in it, but no one knows.
Right.
Know?
I've seen those before.
Only Flack. And I fully believe he'll be doing this.
Yeah.
So, and he's talking about having it so he can mount games on the side of it.
Hey.
So he can pull it up to boat fence in the parking lot.
That sounds great.
I'm like, do it, man. That sounds good to me, man. So yeah, please head out, because these things are going to go quick. Thank you, everybody.
All right, Aaron, our next story is the Wonder Boy. Now, where do you stand on Wonder Boy, Aaron?
Wonder Boy.
Feel the thunder.
No.
If you erase the M1 there, it'll do it right.
Just man.
That.
Okay, Boat's like the HTML master.
Yeah.
There we go. Big, look at that, Boat. You're as smart as you're handsome, my friend.
So, now, let me ask again, Aaron.
Yeah.
Were you a fan of Wonder Boy back in the day?
Not really. I didn't play it that much.
I love Wonder Boy / Hudson's Adventure Island.
Okay.
Then they went and effed with the formula, just like Mike Love said not to.
What did they F with exactly?
They turned it into a freaking side-scrolling RPG, and they made it Wonder Boy in Monsterland.
Oh, yeah.
Lame
I've got a bunch
horrible.
of those things for the old Master System.
Yeah. Those games suck.
But those
Wonder
are the
Boy
ones I'm most familiar with.
Wonder Boy is great. The original Wonder Boy is great. You're a little caveman.
Yeah.
You're throwing an axe and you're riding a skateboard.
Yeah. That's sort of bad A.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it is. So anyway, guess what? Wonder Boy is coming to the Amiga 1200, Aaron.
Oh, boy.
Yeah. There's a new port of this thing. It's being made in the Scorpion engine. That's what they call it. And I am super excited. Just got an official alpha build. And this is the arcade port, not the Master System port. So it's going to look just like it did in the arcade.
It looks great.
Yeah. It looks like this is it's going to have 32 color palette. And the game does require an A1200, a further optimized version for a lower spec Amigas is planned. So I really like this idea of putting out, a high spec and a low spec version for people that want to play this on a 500. Because let's be honest, for a lot of people, the 500 is the Amiga for them. Yeah,
this looks real good though. I mean, does it have a release on it?
It looks like it just got an alpha build, so this is probably not coming for a while. But we'll certainly update you as things arise here.
Excuse me. I got the sneezies. That looks good, though, Boat. I like it, man.
Yeah. All right, Aaron. Our next story, if you want to scroll up there, is Devil's Temple.
Oh, man.
Son of Kung Fu Master. Now, we've reported on this several times, but there is a new update for this thing. And it looks great.
Yeah,
it looks
really
great.
Good.
This is probably the most excited I've been about an Amiga release in a long time.
You hate everything.
You and I both love Kung Fu Master. We love Kung Fu Master.
And this is from the fellow we just did Bomb Jack last week. The same guy.
Yeah.
Geezer.
And so
look at that.
What he's done is he's sort of taken the Kung Fu Master engine or whatever and created a whole new game around it.
Oh, man.
And it looks, I would much prefer, I've just never been the biggest fan of Renegade and Double Dragon and games like that. I much prefer your bad dudes type, side-scrolling, single plane of action type game. And this game looks like it's going to deliver it in spades. I love the varied backgrounds, the different weapons, the enemy types. Everything about this game looks amazing.
This looks great.
Yeah.
This looks great. Let me say it again. This looks great. I can't wait because I like Kung Fu Master, but this is what you do with one of those classics. Look at this thing, and it's cheesed up too. That's what I like about it.
Yeah, it is.
The freaks he's fighting look great. They're varied.
Yep.
The weapons. There's a guy throwing dynamite. Look, there's a level directly from. Thumbs up to this.
Listen, if you're making your own game, the question that you have to ask yourself, the only question that you have to ask yourself is, do you have varied freaks? And if the answer is no, you need to go back to the drawing board.
Yeah, this looks outstanding. I love it.
All right, Aaron, our next story comes to us from the old dungeon crawler genre.
Your
favorite.
favorite, dude.
Now, Black Crypt is one of these games that came out, and people love this game. People love them some Black Crypt.
Did you love it, Bode?
No, because I hate this type of game. This is like we're going to have to play one of these games in just a couple weeks. I've been looking at the AGSC, and I'm already dreading it. I've got that feeling in the pit of my stomach.
I never look ahead, Bode.
So, this thing, there's 5 new maps. So if you haven't tortured yourself already with dungeon crawling through the depths, and to be honest, this does look pretty good.
This looks
does
great.
look pretty good.
Don't undersell it, Bode.
You can explore 5 new maps with this thing, and I believe that this is available for free. I'm gonna have to check the fine print here. It says that this was originally it was put out by EA in '92. And what you do is you put the files from the archive. You can get this link from Indie Retro News. Put them in place of the original ones, and then it will just swap out the old maps for the new maps. Pretty good.
Very cunning.
Yeah.
Come on, Bode. I know you hate these, but I played a lot of these.
Mm-hmm.
They were fun. You have to get yourself in the right mindset to play a game like this. And again,
you mean drunk out of your mind?
No. You absolutely have to be sober because you would get lost instantly. You got to map these suckers the whole 9 yards. Listen, it's like the old Ultimas. I mean, did they age well? Is this something you're going to want to do now? No. But I mean, you might not. But a lot of people really like these games. And I love the fact that they made new maps. That's outstanding. So congratulations, fellas. And the fact that they're giving them away is very nice. Raven Software did this in '92. It says, I thought I recognized that logo when it came up. So, this looks like a winner to me. Very good. I salute you for making this very cool, Bode. I know you don't like it. You'll never play it, but I think it's pretty slick.
All right, Aaron. It's time to leave the world of Amiga news and venture forth into the community updates section of the show. What's been going on our YouTube channels, Aaron?
We've had a few releases this week. Let's talk about a little thing we did. It's the old Atari ST show, Bode, and we did a little thing on the Road Runner. Talk us through this thing, Bode.
So, Road Runner is a port from an arcade game that was originally supposed to be a Laserdisc game. This was when Atari
I found the footage you were talking about, by the way.
It's pretty cool, right?
It is very similar.
Yeah.
They didn't change much.
And what they did was they turned this into an Atari ST game, and in doing so, they didn't actually make the game any better. Because you and I both agree, Roadrunner, not one of the all-time greatest arcade games of all time.
Well, I like how you wrap that. It's very much, like I said, it reminded me an awful lot of Crystal Castles in that it's a game, it looks good, it's got quality workmanship. It's just not that fun.
Right.
And it was based on an arcade game. That wasn't that fun.
Right.
So it translated exactly like you would expect. It's not that fun. Neither one of us were really into it, but we did have a good time looking through this, and your history piece of this was outstanding.
It's got a really interesting history throughout its development cycle, and so just even if the game's no good, sometimes it's fun just to learn about these things.
Yeah.
So anyway, the Atari ST show. Check it out, episode 4.
And I will say, the ST did a great job on this game. And the ST, this is, I don't know how many, this is what, our 4th one? We've not had anything, we've never covered a game on this that was crap.
Right.
They've all, and every one of the games we've covered, the ST's done a great job with it. So far, it's very impressive. It's very interesting to look through. But
100%.
I enjoyed it. So me and the Brent did a little something this week. It was time travel games, Bode. And it's funny, I was telling them on the show I had a real problem picking a game. And so I ended up doing what I always do, which is just basically searching for the name of the subject and see if I could find anything.
Incredibly stupid.
Yeah, and so ultimately what I came up with was Dragon's Lair 2 Time Warp.
Let me give you a little hint. Next time one of these categories comes in, type into Google best time travel video games.
No, I wanted to play one that you don't hear much about.
Well, I guarantee you there'd be one on there.
This is one that no one talks about, Dragon's Lair 2. Also, there's a special place in my heart on this because I tried so desperately to buy this game for so long, and which I tell the story in the show. This is Don Bluth and the Bluth Group. This is their finest work by a long stretch.
In terms of the quality of the animation,
yes,
absolutely.
Yeah, it's outstanding. And they tried to do a few different things to make the Laserdisc game more of a game. That didn't work. but they tried. And this is one of the most out of its mind games. I mean, just frenetic, insane game you're ever going to see.
Yeah.
The Brent, and you know the Brent, he actually turned into you during this episode. The Brent went and found this game for the C64 with a far lower budget called Battle Through Time.
I can't wait to play this thing. He got me pumped.
Now, Battle Through Time, Brent put this over like it was the biggest thing since sliced bread. And I will say, if you
it does take Moon Patrol to school. I'll give you that.
If you ever thought to yourself, why doesn't Moon Patrol have a baby with Time Pilot? Well, then this is your baby right here, because it's exactly what happens. But it's not just that. It's the guy who made it is out of his mind. And there are false endings in this, and it's just
look at that parallax.
It's a weird game. It's more multi-layered scrolling, but yeah, that's the funny thing. It's got this real smooth multi-layered scrolling, but what it's scrolling looks like that like your 6-year-old.
Listen, it's a C64 game. It's not going to.
That's what Brent said, but that's not true because we've played C64 games that looked great.
Well,
the backgrounds on this not so good, but still, this is a fun game, and also the music in it. Like I said, there's a part of it when you're in Korea, it plays the MASH theme. There's one part where it plays the Imperial March.
That's really where the C64 shines, is being able to do stuff like that.
For some reason, on the World War II, they just play when Johnny comes marching home. Why not? I don't know why. So anyway, if you want to catch our thoughts on some time travel games, some very different ones, you can check out ARG Presents this week. Now, we also released some stuff on our sister account, the Amigo Stream Team. If you would, please add this to your subscriptions. I think we released some real good stuff this week. I released hour 6 and 7 of Amigathon Boat. This is the part where me and you and the Brent plays these crazy Amiga fighting games, and we played a bunch.
That's the best one right there.
Yeah, that is the best one. But we also play some Body Blows. We play that Elf Mania. We play a bunch of crazy fighting games. And then we really slide into some weird stuff at the end of this. We play some real oddball stuff here towards the end. Yeah, we play some Cincy. Whatever the heck that was. I don't even remember what that was. But it was a couple hours. We had a good time. That was Karate Kid 2. We played that. So if you want to catch us, these Amigathons are real fun. I've had a good time looking back through them. Our good buddy Jack Flack, this is hot the presses. Jack Flack Sprite Castle plays Maniac Mansion. Now, didn't you and Chad do this a couple years ago?
We did. We did a full playthrough. It was like 5.5 hours.
Did you guys play it? Do you remember what system you played it on?
The Amiga.
Was it on the Amiga?
Yeah.
Flack here. I believe played this on the C64. Flack's in here. He can correct me if I'm wrong.
It also says it right there in the description.
Yeah. And I watched him go through this, and I'm like him. Like, how could you play this game without having the thing in front of you? And even then, it's not easy.
Yeah.
With multiple saves. But this is the kind of wacky fun you'd expect from Flack on here. And this was a good time. I watched the whole thing, and I really enjoyed it.
This is a game that it does not lose anything on the C64. Like, we played the Amiga version. The Amiga version looks slightly better, but you can have just as much fun with this game on the C64.
Oh, yeah. And really, would you place this somewhere between the Amiga and, like, say, the NES version or somewhere?
Well, no, the C64 and the NES version look pretty much the same.
Yeah.
Yeah. You're going to want to play the C64 version over the NES version because the C64 version wasn't censored.
Yeah.
So you can put the hamster in the microwave. You can do all that stuff.
There's some weird nudity in it?
Yeah,
So, but anyway, good stuff there. Please check out our buddy, the Flackster. And make sure you pick up Sprite Castle, the podcast, which is outstanding. Of course, all his shows are great. Like and Doss is great. You don't know Flack. Check all of his stuff out because it's all gold, brother. All 100% gold.
I love his streaming background, too, with his figures back behind him. And,
yeah. He said that his room was trashed. So I thought that was amusing.
Yeah.
And this literally just came out right before recording, Bo. This is last week's Friday Night Disaster stream. Now, listen. I don't want to overhype it. Judge for yourself.
But it was the greatest stream of all time.
This is the best thing we've ever done. Bo, tell them what we did here.
So I brought over our +2 that was given to us by Rushi.
The Roosh.
And I got a Div MC Future card, which was given to us by the Future Was 8-Bit. And then I brought over some cassettes that were given to us by Ruchi.
Yeah.
And then I put it all together with an RGB to SCART adapter, which I think Duncan Styles gave us that, and then the Coco community gave us the SCART to HDMI. So all of these things, it was our community pulled together to send us a bunch of stuff.
Yeah.
And we did this streaming, and I had so much fun playing. These were all new ZX Spectrum games. So this is all stuff from within the last 10 years. We played Sophia. We played Mr. Do. We played Dirty Dozer.
Yes, Dirty Dozer.
We played Gandalf, Super Gandalf.
Yeah.
A port. It would look like a Game Boy port of that was ported to the ZX Spectrum of Ninja Gaiden. So super fun stuff. We did this for about 2 hours, and it was a lot of fun.
We actually learned to save the tape images. That was nice, wasn't it? So
yeah,
we never had to set through
that was
again.
really cool too. Yeah.
We experienced loading time, just like Jack Black has every week. We also got it to work, which was the most amazing thing. When that thing came up, and it worked well.
Yeah.
We didn't have any trouble at all.
We didn't have any trouble. It was the first time that's ever happened with real hardware.
That was
so it was
much,
great.
That was so much fun.
Oh, yeah. We should mention thank you to JB Orchards, who I believe is Orkmeal in the Discord. The ZX Spectrum has a birthday next week. It's turning 40, the big 40.
Which is ironic because we'll be recording a R. Sinclair next week.
That's right.
So
That's right. We'll definitely give it a shout out.
Yep. For that. But listen, if you're a fan of the Sinclair, there's me botching the production on the show. I'm glad that came up on this show. But if you're a fan of the Spectrum, or just a fan of watching two Americans, I want to go on about this because we don't ever get to play with the actual hardware. And you've got it, but we never get together.
Mm-hmm.
It's hard until recently. We haven't had a chance.
Right.
So you got that. I don't know how many years ago you got that Plus 2.
It's been a while.
But it wasn't too far before the pandemic hit.
Mm-hmm.
And then so here we get to sit down with this crazy machine from across the pond and load up tapes and stream. It was so much fun. So if I would love it. I think if you're to the Spectrum or just want to watch me and Boat screw around, check it out.
Yeah, and stay tuned because we're gonna have some time for some more. I've got the Coco. I brought the Coco gimmick over. At some point in the future, we're gonna use the real Coco with the RGB out, so we won't have any more weird video issues with the Coco. Stay tuned for many more real hardware disaster streams.
But these were fun. Again, please check this out. It's the Amigos Stream Team. It's all one word, or all 3 words. 3 words. Amigos Stream. Add it to your subscription list. We're going to be bringing out lots more stuff on here, including my look at the Psygnosis Legacy on the PlayStation. Will be coming out this week, Boat. So that should be a lot of fun. That's all we've got this time around. Oh, I do want to say a melancholy happy trails, as they would say on PTL, to our good buddy. What did I say? PTL Club. Is that the crazy? That wasn't Tammy Faye Baker, and then was it? What is
was
that?
it?
I don't remember. Anyway, I want to say adios to our good buddy Frodo. He's going to take some time off from streaming some of this retro stuff he's been putting up. He's put up a ton of great streams for us over the years, and we appreciate you, Frodo.
Yeah.
And you're always, anytime you get that wild inkling to come back around and throw more stuff up on the channel, you're always welcome to come back. We have always enjoyed Frodo. He's a great guy too.
Yeah.
Real good
and
guy.
one more ZX Spectrum news thing, because this is going to go out before we record. Orkmeal is actually running a Zoom event next Wednesday to help celebrate the birthday of the Spectrum. So if you're on our Discord, go over to the Our Sinclair channel. He's posted the link there, and you can join him and a bunch of other people from around the world and celebrate the legacy of the ZX Spectrum.
Very good, Boat. Very good, Orkmeal. Nice work, dude. Boat, that's all the video action that we've got, my friend.
All right. Well, Aaron, we are going to announce the winner of last week's Patreon Song Challenge. Okay, so last week's Patreon song was Faith by George Michael. You gotta have it.
That was, no you don't. I lost mine that day.
Barkbit got it right. Mitsuyama and Edvin Helland all were perfect on their entries. So congratulations. I also got some wacky incorrect entries, which amused me. So this is going to be the most epic attempt ever at a Patreon song, Aaron. I've been thinking about this all week. Okay, I've been trying. I was tempted to practice it, but of course I didn't. because I wanted it to be off the cuff and real.
Oh man.
Okay.
Oh man. Okay.
So here we go. Oh, I guess I should announce what we're doing. So, John at AmigosPodcast.com. If you know the answer, if you're in the chat, please email me. Don't put it in the chat. All right, here we go. Hey, Pencil Arm Albuquerque. We like what we like. Mr. Chip, Peter Price, Herman B., Wanderly Chesum, Mark Richardson, David Robake, David Terrace, Drew Carlos, Matthew Mobius, Saint Magnus, F. Gates, Alistair Fiend, David Z, George Rosansky, The Amiga, Shodan Crabtree, Super Family King, Crazy Loomis, William Vintiscar, Heavy Systems Inc., Bunty, Frag Lord, Mark Barland, Olaf Hope, Ailey Reader, David Velociraptor, Cowboy Boy, Langdon Sinta, Daniel Williams, Godson, Bomb the Bass, Frodo and L, Soul Incisor, Tech Mate Jurgen, Mr. Cola, Bernard Lucas, Jerry Dennington, Zorg Love Reflection, Simon Ledge Cap'n, Crispy, Kilobytes and Caffeine, Gary Heather, Free Lunch, Kate Fox, David Pickford, Cameron Armstrong, Andy, Jones Lobsterminator, 10 Min Amiga, Rich Casper, and Quinn Arm C, Tim Drew, Joseph Harrison, Kyle, Ed Rob O'Hara, Matthew Larimore, Andy Craig, Shanzo Barkman, Roland Burke, Andrew Monks, Joe the Zombie, Lee Kelland, Alan Kebab, Chocote, Level Lord, John Marshall, Matthew Perron, Ricky DeRusha, Creepy Dead Boy, Big ACTZ, The Slow Norris, Stefan Sorgan, Mortensen, Edvin Helinder, Christopher Hessel, Chris Foles, Lauren Giroux, Graham Debke, Adam Battersby, O'Brien's Retro, Gary Hucker, Paul Harrington, Duncan Styles Tapes from the Crypt, Josh Nan, Adam Bradley, Jonas Rolo, THE, Eric Nelson, Daniel Bingston, Brutal Barracuda, Darren Coles, Jason Warnes, Pixels at Dawn, Kjol Bjorn Barman, yeah! Drum solo!
You screamed out drum. Where's the drum solo?
Oh, I ran out of names. I couldn't do it.
Was that a medley?
Might have been. Might have been.
That just seemed like you were just randomly saying things.
Well,
to me,
it's a little bit of both.
It wasn't really that melodic. Is this kind of experimental Laurie Anderson style stuff here?
You'll find out next week when I announce the Patreon song winner. But of course, we can't go anywhere without thanking the fine folks that have subscribed to us on Twitch. Twitch.tv/Amigos podcast. Is that right? No, Twitch.tv/Amigos Retro Gaming. I think that's our site. I don't know. It's hard to say.
We couldn't subscribe to ourselves.
We do record. We do record every Friday at around 5-ish, although today we're a little bit early.
And next week will be over Thursday.
Yep. So it's pretty much whenever we want.
Yeah. My kid's baseball season's killing us.
You can subscribe, you can follow, you can just check us out. Join in the chat. We always enjoy everybody just coming in, talking, and saying their piece or posting wacky gifs.
Don't say your piece. That sounds like it could get real bad.
That's probably true. So I want to thank our Twitch subscribers. We got Brock101, Still Adolescing, Honored Shadow, Barkbit, Steve Burtz, RetroRewind.ca, Negsol, Gustavowitz, wow, Buck Owens, Crabs MTG, Jabasoft, HSEI Ken, Luminate08, Uber Scuba Diver, Pishbot, Amesteph, Beachbum7, Monza Mess, Pixel Rageous, Mitsuyama, John Marshall, Scumboy, Jason Warrens, Orom, Anthony Roberts, Macahan, Christian Russell, Blow Jellyfish, Frodo NL, Real Retro Dude, Paco Take, Captain Chaos DK, Darkwing 602, Eeyore 4077, Twilight Zoner, Amiga Live, Holy Guacamole, Gary Heather, Jigglebox, Edvin Helland, Oil of Hope, and Blue Train. Thank you guys so much for subscribing to us on Twitch.
Thank you.
Aaron, what are we going to play next week?
Man, who knows after pool? What could get you wackier than that, bro?
No! Oh my gosh.
That's it. That's wackier.
Public Domania.
Oh man.
So we are going to be playing Pac-Man Deluxe Old Gore Vidal special.
Edgar Vigdahl. Not
Whatever.
Gore Vidal. You knucklehead.
And Drop Zone, the PD version. Speaking of Archer Maclean, what irony that we're going to be playing a PD homage to his work
So
next
someone
week.
is paying a PD version of the original Spectrum classic.
I think this was an Atari 8-bit classic. Drop Zone.
Whatever. They're all the same.
Yeah, they are all the same. So, we hope you will join us next week for Public Domania. Thank you as always for listening. We'll see you next time. Until then, adios.